This is just something, one of the teachers who spoke today kind of talked about reflection, and for whatever reason, I was reflective in the last couple of weeks. Since this new board convened 9 months ago, try to treat everybody on this board, staff, and those addressing the board with respect and dignity. Giving everyone time to speak and address issues, whether in agreement with each other or disagreement. Transparency requires all views to be openly discussed in the sunshine. However, in doing so, I feel I've let the superintendent, staff, students, and constituents down by not stressing the authority of the board versus individual board members. I would like to propose the following language to the superintendent to have added to our school board rules in the normal fashion of adopting school board rules. The use of the district logos, letterhead, seals, trademarks, and district social media accounts by employees, administration, and school board members when not performing the rule of an employee, administrator, or school board member should be prohibited. This completely goes against transparency and clearly gives the appearance of a school board sanctioned action or event. They are the property of the district and can only be used for district sanctioned business. These types of events or actions will have been approved by the board. I'd like to ask the superintendent to have the school board rule written to support this concept. Lastly, it's all been a school board norm that district property or district events are in no way a place to promote one's political candidacy or other political candidates. Politics has no place on district property or at district events, or such as using district sponsorship resources to promote political candidacy for the election in any position. I would like to ask the superintendent to have a school board rule to support this. I would propose the following motion. Motion 1, reaffirm school board rule 2.2 as I just read. Item number 2, instruct the superintendent to have added to our school board rules in the normal fashion of adopting school board rules. Individual school board members may use district facilities for personal initiative or school board sponsored events under the same terms and conditions as organization and community members. Such use shall comply with this policy and the standard facilities use agreement. School board meeting rooms shall not be subject to lease use at any time by school board members unless an event has been approved by the majority of the board. 3, instruct the superintendent to have added to our school board rules the normal fashion of adopting school board rules. The use of school district logos, letterhead, seals, trademarks, district social media accounts, or employees, administrator, or school board members when not performing in that role as an employee, administrator or school board members should be prohibited. This goes against transparency and clearly gives the appearance of a school board sanctioned event or action. They are the property of the district and can only be used by the district sanctioned business. These types of events or actions have been approved by them, unless these events or actions have been approved by the board. Instruct the superintendent to have a school board rule written to prohibit political promotions on school board property at district events or when acting in the capacity as a school board member. And that is my motion. There's 4 parts to it.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Arguello, I think you were first.
Absolutely. So in what is a veiled, poorly disguised attempt to silence me, I will say that this paragraph right here is a paragraph written on how to address a conflict in the Robert's Rules of Orders. So we have this giant paragraph here on Robert's Rule of Order conflicts, and this language here, this little highlighted line right here, and these little highlighted 2 lines right here is our conflict of interest policy. And it shows exactly how poorly written these rules are, because the intent of these rules is not to actually govern a school district in any responsible or credible fashion. In fact, it's written to do nothing more than promote yourself. So that's number 1. Number 2, in this just amazing, again, I think that was a 10-minute motion in an attempt to silence one school board member, right? Yet we don't have any language or any addressing of the fact that just a couple of hours ago I was practically attacked by another school board member behind that door right there, and in a behavior so grotesque, so abusive, okay, that I'm considering pressing charges. So here, excuse me, I'm still speaking. So one, that's absolutely in here. So we don't have a policy here to protect each other from professional behavior. In fact, what we allow is for one school board member to be abusive and scream and yell, okay, that people, that's an actual fact.
I get,
And number
that's got
two,
nothing to do with my motions.
yeah, it does, actually, but you're making, and instead of addressing an actual problem on this school board, you're talking about one school board member who's doing his job that the people elected him to do.
I never said one
That's
school board
great,
member.
but
I said,
I think that the public knows exactly what this is intended to do. It's intended to silence one school board member from using a logo that says School Board Member District 3, which I will continue to use after this, okay? And number two, we're not addressing the fact that we have one school board member who's absolutely out of control in her behavior towards other school board members here. So I would address that first.
I need you to advise me on what I need to do in order to protect myself from these constant allegations. I'm tired of it. I cannot do my job. I cannot do my job.
I'm gonna advise both of you to cease commenting about each other at this meeting, right? I will confer with you on what you've asked me, all right? But cease it. Mr. Thacker has made a motion. Did you make?
And there's a
There's a second, but it is not appropriate to have these individual attacks, right?
Is that even possible? Because you're restricting, like, for instance, you know, like what you had mentioned, there's a school district logo, and then we also have, you have two different letterheads. We have a letterhead that's official capacity of the school district, then we have our individual respective members. That's like going to a congressman. You're not allowed to write a letter to a constituent on your congressional letterhead without approval of the House of Representatives or the Senate. You know, that's not possible. That's like
you could do that?
severely limiting them. You know, you can't tell somebody, you can't just use your own letterhead that belongs to you, you know? And that's why we created two different templates, and two different templates exist for that very purpose, to not obfuscate the fact that it is coming specifically from one person and not the other.
All right, Judy.
He's even legally allowed to do that.
Wait a minute. Let's keep an order here. Terry was, I had her on before you did, and if you'd.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't say that.
Let's just stay in order. Terry?
I have nothing else to say.
Okay. Deborah was next, and back to you, Julius.
Yes, sir.
Oh, your light was on.
I apologize.
My
light doesn't come on, so.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Back, Julius, I'm sorry.
Yeah, from top to bottom, I agree with your initial statement in your motion, which already exists. That is, you know, we direct the superintendent, we don't direct staff. And state statute actually says we're allowed to ask questions. So state statute is very specific about school board members being able to visit schools, ask questions, and ascertain data. And as a matter of fact, the state statute even says that it is prohibitive of any school board member to create a motion to restrict that access. So we have to be careful. So before we even go on with this motion, we may even have to TP this motion for its legality, because the state statute is very specific, and it says the school board member cannot even create any rules or policies to prohibit the board member's ability to visit schools and be able to speak to.
My motion did not in any way, and if it was unclear that way, did not in any way prohibit going to schools, didn't prohibit asking questions, it prohibited instructing people to do something. That was it. It's not been, I would fully expect that if somebody's got a question, they call somebody. If that question has a 14-hour time to respond, you know, to do stuff, that's a different issue. But, 99% of the question everybody here asks, you're asking somebody who knows the answer to it, and they're gonna answer the question, so it's not meant to be that. I'm not sure. Mr. Bass.
Listen, there's a lot of saber rattling up here, and both of you know the document that we're talking about. And I'm here for the people, and I'm here for the students, and I'm here for the teachers, and I'm actually here for these board members. I care about everybody in this room. At our last board meeting, a legislative update was given. There were some questions that, as far as the performance of the contract, it was 100%. There was no question about that. Then Mr. Arguello brought up some questions about Mr. Horner's filing. I'm not a lobbyist. I don't know the answers. we instructed our board attorney, as we're supposed to do, to investigate it and bring back a response at this board meeting. From that point to this point, there should be no communication because we don't have all the answers. Immediately after that, there was on district letterhead, and it looked like it was vetted through the school district. And it was written in such a way, written by a in third person, to make all of us look bad, and Mr. Arguello, and to make yourself look good. And when I read it, I was like, wow, who wrote this? Because it looked like it was written exactly, and your skills of crafting, the words and the paragraph, God bless you, you're good at that. But it was not the time and the place. And if we do not, if I did that for any one of you two, you'd be crucifying me. So all we're trying to do is to keep order here and not let any one of us go rogue and start saying anything derogatory and putting it on letterhead and stationery and sending it out to the news media without, I didn't even have a chance to even comment on it. You shouldn't have said anything between that point and this point. That's all. That was kind of what kind of started the ball rolling with this. As far as this, from what I understand, that's the way I'm taking it.
Mr. Arguello?
Mr. Bass, two things. Number one, I don't make anyone look bad. Everyone is responsible for their own reputation. Everyone is responsible for their own performance, regardless of how well or how poorly I write a press release put out on my letterhead as the elected member of the school board from District 3, number one. Number two, you're telling me that I need to seek your permission before I myself make a statement on what my beliefs are? That's a ridiculous bar to set. And so from now on, we're not gonna get opinions from anyone else who's elected before the body itself? No, sir. I have an opinion. I was elected with majority in my district. I am serving the county of my district and the county at large, and I have an opinion and I will make it. And it doesn't matter how many motions, how many rules you put here, I will continue to make my opinion known. And unlike everyone else on this board, I basically am an independent thinker who does what he believes is best for the district. Everyone else votes lockstep. That's your guys' right to do that. I decide that I'm gonna vote in one way or another on my own. I will make my own comment, and I will continue to use my elected office for the benefit of the people of this county. However you use your office, however you use your elected position is up to you. I do not tell you that you can't go to a school and make a statement without our permission. That is ridiculous. My letterhead clearly states, Jon Arguello, District 3, and I wrote that myself. So you're literally, not only is it questionable whether or not it's my First Amendment right, okay? Because that's my name in my elected position. If the governor of this state, okay, has a different opinion, I would gladly obey his order telling me that I am not allowed to send out a press release on my own behalf with words that I typed up on my own computer saying what I believe. That is an absurdity that you guys are telling me that I am no longer allowed to make an opinion on my own as an elected official. So let me get this right. Unless I get your guys' permission, I can't make a statement, and I cannot use this room to host people as a school board member. So you guys are setting precedents. You know what? Terry and I both come to the meetings early, right? So we're no longer allowed to use our office back here unless you guys approve that?
That's our.
That's absolutely what's in there, sir, so maybe you should reread your motion, because that's exactly what's in that motion. We're not allowed to use anything that the public cannot use, okay, without the prior approval of the entire board. Well, sir, that's not accessible to the public use, so essentially I cannot use my own office, okay, without your permission. It's ridiculous. You guys are overstepping because you guys are not doing a great job for the community. And if you were, I guarantee you, it would be me trying to catch up to you and silence you instead of you silencing me. Why don't you guys start working on behalf of the community first and then try to silence me second? And then you won't have to worry about it. You won't even have to think about me.
I'd like to make a motion to call the question.
Second.
All those in favor of calling the question signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Aye.
Motion carries 3-2 to call the question. There's motion on the floor, Mr. Thacker, second by Ms. Castillo. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-2.